Like, for the person. Got it. Okay, it is recording and it says that I was gonna go. We just didn't hear it. Oh, all right, it is now 6 o'clock. At this time, we will begin the work study session for February 19th, 2024. Roll call, please.
Mayor Heath,
Present.
Commissioner Banky,
Present.
Commissioner Schwartz,
Present.
Commissioner Roberts, Present, Commissioner Miller,
Present.
Commissioner Castleberry,
Present.
Commissioner Gauss,
Present.
all commission members present.
At this time, I will turn it over to our city administrator, Greg Elliott.
Thank you, Mayor. First item to talk about tonight is our standard contract. As you all may know, we have one standard form of city contract. And it's basically pre-approved by you. And so when we did things out, the normal course of conduct is to include the bid spec within that standard contract. Sign any other contract besides that one has to go particularly to you to be approved, and sometimes we do that as well. But as we've got new council who is more meticulous perhaps, I won't say than who, but he's noted that contractors are not complying with their certificates of insurance, are not complying with the form of contract that we currently have, and we have about 10 of them backed up because of that. And so Matt went out and did a little research with the marketplace to see what the problem was. And Matt, can you hear me?
Yes.
You out there, Matt?
Can you hear me?
He can't hear me.
Can you hear me?
Oh, he said.
Oh, he's talking to, we can't hear him.
See, I didn't hear the recording thing go on either, so I
Right.
think that's part of it, even though I saw it go.
Can you hear me?
He'll tell you a little bit about what he found, but that's
That
the,
might be the problem.
that's the gist of this, and I just want, and we have an item on your regular, well, the key thing would be to make it work, so.
Sorry about that.
So we wanna make it work though, so we can hear.
Yeah, I don't- I'm not
Zoom
sure.
too, so we gotta do that, but just tell commission for the moment what you found in your research about insurance.
So I reached out to a couple different insurance carriers and they mentioned that our numbers were out of date. And we needed to update those numbers to what is reflected in the resolution tonight. It was asking for $1 million per person. And they said that that's not usually something they carry anymore. They said they used to, as stated. We were asking for 1.5 billion for each occurrence. They said that's they don't. No one ever insures that number anymore. They recommended dropping that to $1 million, but also adding 5,000 per person if there is an accident. So the numbers that I've just mentioned are reflected in the resolution tonight. You guys can review.
So I just wanna, because we have it on the agenda, normally we don't try to put action items on first time we're talking to you all about them, but because we do have a backup of contracts that need to be signed, we wanted to do them both tonight, so that's on the regular agenda. Any questions from Matt related to that? Any concerns about?
Could you just walk through a little bit more slowly for us that aren't as intelligent as the rest of the group?
It related to the per occurrence insurance limits, which were far in excess of what any carrier will provide anymore. And so Matt was explaining that he reached out to some insurance companies and asked them what is doable in the market today. What is reflected in the packet as the proposed changes to the insurance requirements for our standard form of contract. What he was told by insurance. No questions from that? Matt, thanks.
Thank you.
And I have nothing else on that item either, unless there are any questions for me. And the next item is for y'all to pick a city commission representative to the Human Relations Commission. We're about ready to move forward with appointments. We've had a number of applications for that board and that commission. And we just need to settle who from the city commission is going to sit on this. Get everybody reappointed, so we have a full complement of members and lift the stay on the activities of the Human Relations operating again. So I'll just turn that over to the group, if anybody's interested.
Are we looking for nominations or?
I mean, we can't really do nominations here at the work session, but I think we can propose.
So if we
If somebody
propose-
has interest, they should state it. I would say if somebody thinks somebody should be interested, they can say that too.
I think Commissioner
Different than the
Cass,
mayor?
What's that?
no, I was going to suggest that Commissioner Castleberry be our representative.
I am interested in it.
I
I've
think
been in
it's a
social
great-
justice for 20-some years.
That's a great idea.
I'm very interested in working. with patients.
I want to second that. That's a good idea.
Would that be in addition to the mayor? or-
No,
No,
it would
Luda.
be the city commission.
Kind of like I am on the planning.
Right, although that's by statute.
Okay,
This is our own.
It's okay.
Anyone else interested? If not, I will consider that matter settled.
so do we put that? as
So
a
we'll put all
resolution?
the, well, you'll have to figure out what maybe you want to talk now about what your process is gonna be as it relates to the other applicants, because we have a number of applicants for that commission, probably more than there are seats. I don't know about it. You list of from Michelle, if you have that available, if you know how many.
It's new, and I also know that there's some that are expiring relatively soon, so it depends on if they're going to re-up as well. So,
Do we, and I don't know, if is everybody reapplying? Correct me if I'm wrong, when we talked about it, every time your seat was up, we were having to reapply.
but there were a number of people that applied. There were people that left, and then of those that were staying on, even those are now expiring.
Yeah.
So
They're getting ready to expire. Yeah.
I guess based on our kind of thought process where there would be the chairperson and or someone from HRC and a commission member to interview that process, I guess. Based on that, I'd be comfortable with you and someone from the HRC or the chair. I'm not sure. Lady Bernard is expired yet or not.
I want to say wasn't it the 11th?
Interview the applicants and make a recommendation.
She knew a lot were coming available, so just to talk to her, and she was reaching out and telling them they're gonna have to reapply and was trying to find out if everybody, and she hadn't heard back from everybody, but the vast majority were saying yes. But she doesn't know if they've reapplied. We did just talk about this
Okay.
last week,
Okay.
because I told her this was coming up too, so.
Did she?
submit an application to? She knows, yes.
Joaquin is.
Yeah, she'll have to, and I don't know if she did it herself either. That's what I don't know.
It is not, her name is not on. the
Okay.
list.
Is she, because she's up right now?
As-
19. If I'm remembering, it was before March first when we were asking for applications.
The week of Friday.
She expired, allegedly on we don't have the expiration date, just the initial appointment date, so it was February 5th.
Yeah, so all of them expired, I think. All of them were expiring before the March first.
Except Sister Pat,
Yep.
and, Joaquin goes through 25 as well.
So there's no, you don't have to worry about it.
But then also I never heard anything. For the others did.
So that leaves Andrea, Lady Bernard, that leaves D'Angelo, who has expressed to her, and he said he was gonna fill it out. She did tell me that. I do know that. And
I think we have quite a few
Is that-
more applications.
yeah,
Yeah, there are.
so I'll make
We
sure.
Dropped it to 5 numbers? Five.
Drop.
Five.
5 and a commission.
No.
That's fine, right,
So was that 7?
That was
It
seven.
was at 9.
I think it was at 9. I think it got dropped to 7.
I believe so.
I think it got dropped to
I think
7.
There are
I'm
eight,
pretty sure it got dropped to 7.
and there are 8 people that, are new applications that specifically say Human Relations Commission. And I know I talked to one individual, she said she applied, for HRC, but doesn't say that next to her.
Are you thinking just one round, or, I mean, if you're having so many more than there's to you, then we might be including to select the groups and narrow it from them with a different set of questions and things like this.
Yeah.
Well, I
That's
think
my call.
you said that, or we said that we would wait till March 1st. Right. And
Yeah,
then
so
get
March
all of
1st, we were
them.
going to, we
Yeah.
were asking for all applications for
Right.
these. March 1st.
Right.
Give them to, I think we were all gonna review the two, but Mayor. This round, typically you refer someone to us, but I think just based on the vast emptiness of the boards, we were going to, question and then help you in that.
Give a recommendation to the mayor.
So. And then we would be voting people in by mid-April, am I
Her first meeting, in April, we're optimistic.
real?
We did say, I think, that the optimistic version
Yeah,
was,
yeah, yeah.
was the
April,
1st of
March 1st,
April.
yeah, excuse me, you're right,
April
you're right.
1st, yeah.
Okay,
So one discussion that we want to have is, so, there's a full slate for Brownfield coming tonight. There's, potentially a full slate for HRC. We don't have a full slate for elected officials compensation. So we got 2 and we have a few on the hook. So if there's any more we can get on that, I guess my only thought is if we can get the 2 that are approved or that apply, and if they pass muster, approve them. So then hopefully they could help the recruiting process to move forward too. Even though, like I said, we won't have a full slate of that.
No,
That's how.
Yep, I think that's a great idea. I can reach out though to Andrea, because I've been talking to her about it, so I'll reach out to her and make sure that anybody that you don't need Joaquin or Sister Pat, but I'll make sure everybody else has put theirs in, and she might not have understood that, so I'll just make sure, I'll clarify that.
Okay.
But I know she was still interested, and I know for a fact D'Angelo told her as well. She did tell me that name specifically on the phone.
So then when we get all the names that you're gonna. profile,
Then
we're gonna sit down and interview
You,
and Lee Bernard.
okay.
And
chair.
Yeah,
But she's no longer, I mean, technically, she's no longer the
right,
chair.
right.
So maybe.
Well, she serves until.
Angie, you're in that decision making. Or not.
So as chair,
Yeah.
she would, as Greg said, serve until she's replaced.
Oh,
Mhm.
I think that's,
Email me to Sister Pat and we can get a few.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if Rita Bernard can't do it, I think we call it, and then the vice chair. Right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that what you're?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good idea.
Everybody on board still.
Yep.
Okay. So you got this, you understand, you're.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Clear as mud.
Okay, well, if you can get that done probably a week from next Tuesday, then
All right.
we'll put those appointments on the next agenda.
Well, they're technically not due till March.
Yeah.
1st. So.
Well, it'll be after
Yeah.
March first, the next agenda will be first Monday of March. But Tuesday is our for things to pack.
So the appointments that are on the consent agenda tonight for appointments to the brownfield development, there's some time sensitive issues on that.
Yeah, that is the mechanism that we want to use to facilitate the redevelopment loans that the developers with Dixie site asked for. Burke's research has indicated that's probably the best vehicle for doing that.
Okay.
And so we want to
Okay.
facilitate what they're doing. We want to get it up and running as quickly as possible. Commissioner Benke reached out and there was actually another applicant that I didn't know about. I'm only putting myself on there to get it up and running. So that I can get it up and running. Although that is historically accurate, George Brown was on it, that when it was originally established, but I don't need to be on there. Jay's can be on there. So once we get it running, then perhaps our other applicant can slide it. And over.
Thank you.
Because of because of the time sensitivity. And more on HRC. All right, so moving on, similar to the formal contract resolution, we have a resolution on the regular agenda to approve an agreement with Krieghoff Runaway for demolition management services. I'll say it would consist of helping us write the bid spec for the demolition of 116 through 120 South Main, and then also managing the demolition project. We reached out to them because they're already working with the owner of 122. There's a common wall between those two, so the coordination is very important. It is a personal service contract, so competitive bids are not required. Also, it's enhancement grant money, so it's not the general fund expenditure, but again, we wanted to get that moving as quickly as possible. This is the next step to be able to continue on with that project, which will result, as you all know, in our town square being located there adjacent to Main Lane, reviewed in the past. So I wanted to bring it up at the pre-meeting. Let's bring it on to a regular meeting, so there's a chance to ask any questions that you might have on it. It's right around 18,000, I think, for the total package.
That's coming out of an enhancement,
Comes out of the.
right?
Yeah,
Just wanted to, yep.
Any questions about that?
What was the ballpark figure?
18. Okay, all right, moving right along. Next thing we scheduled is follow-up discussion on your Crimson Holding town hall that you had last Monday night. Once we get that off, I guess I would observe from what I heard, there didn't seem to be much sentiment for just dividing up the money and sending everybody a check for $100 or something. Not sure whatever it would turn out to be. It seemed like the people in attendance were most interested in seeing some sort of project or projects that would benefit that area of the east side. Some things, I think it was while we were doing agenda meeting, we talked about a little bit. Somebody had brought up sidewalks, and so we were talking to Matt about, what's a square of sidewalk cost. And Remind me, Matt, what's a square of sidewalk cost?
Can you hear me this time?
No, still can't hear you.
So,
But it was you could replace a substantial number of flags of sidewalk for the amount of money that we'll ultimately receive, whereas that would otherwise be payable by adjacent residents. That was one idea. Lighting was another thing that was brought up, although as we discussed lighting, yes, every year at budget time, we do discuss this because Matt always tries to budget for LED replacements, and I always take it out because consumers will replace them all for free as soon as they burn out. And they're, and so doesn't make sense in there could be an idea to do additional lighting, but because LED are so much brighter, as we can see downtown from the replacement that we did here, it seems likely that the existing lights will seem a lot more adequate once they are all transitioned into LED. There's a light at every intersection, whether it seems like it or not. As those become LED lights, it's going to look a lot brighter without doing anything else. Now, as you noticed downtown, or maybe you didn't notice downtown, these poles are substantially shorter than the old poles used to be, and yet they throw off far more light than they make a huge difference. So unclear that lighting would be the project, but that was another idea that was discussed. But I don't want to keep talking.
I did write down what he put. He said suspension across streets, which most of those intersections all are, because you guys were looking up on your computer. 4,000 to 5,000, and then it's like 1,000 per light that's on a pole, if you're looking at that. I don't remember what each square or how big they are, but I did write down from the math you did.
Yeah.
That it was 667 squares of sidewalk is what we could do with that $100,000. So it's quite a few squares of sidewalk. And I know Matt had told Greg that he was gonna start driving around and seeing how many are really bad, like really humped up and messed up, that to see how many squares it actually was that we're gonna need to replace. It wouldn't be the driveway squares, because those are a lot more expensive, and then that's, the driveway. We were talking specifically, at least the three of us, about more just your actual squares like in front of your house as opposed to your driveway sidewalk that goes across. So anyways, so that's just to kind of give you an idea from our rudimentary math that we were doing at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. No, it was probably about 4:30, but 67 squares of sidewalk approximately. So that's if that,
How many we could do?
huh?
Okay.
Yeah, it's 100. That means it's 150.
Right. But it was like, but I don't remember how big a square is. I don't remember.
5 feet wide, but
Yeah.
Can you hear me this way?
Meetings that they wanted the money spent explicitly for those people that are in their needs. So I'm not sure, and this is my opinion from the meeting, that we have a total focus of what they want. I think there was some ideas and concepts brought out, like such, I remember they wanted to talk about a park or something for the whole neighborhood. They wanted to talk, and this is coming from somebody that, as young as the 7 children, dad's part of the factory work. $100 means a lot. I mean, if you don't have money for gas to get to your job, $100 doesn't mean. And so my position is that we do a little bit more focus, send out maybe something specific and survey to them, or hold something where they can give greater input of what they want and get it narrowed down to specific things that they want to choose, and not just from the one meeting. That's just what I want to put on the table.
Yeah, I was disappointed that we didn't have more concrete, I mean,
Yeah.
concrete. Yeah, no pun intended. No, we didn't have very many suggestions in terms of projects or
I think
things
we were
like that.
going to listen, right? That was the point of that meeting.
Well,
was to
right.
listen.
Right, and we didn't get, in my feeling is, we didn't get a lot of valuable input, sidewalks, lights, your point. Now, you had an idea that you brought up after the meeting of if we had another meeting really break out people in focus groups, kind of like we did with strategic planning. And get small groups with one of the commissioners in each group to talk about it and then come back together. And you can explain it better than I did.
It's just an opportunity that you're not in a mass group, that you break it into small groups, so each person has a stronger voice. And so you collect all the data from the small groups, you bring it back to the entire group. And then you find the common themes from table 1 through whatever tables that we have with all the commissioners. And then we show that, and then we break it down, and these are the 3 top things that you want to do. And then focus on that, and then make choices from that, instead of just that first meeting, which was an open meeting that they had. Because one of the meetings, one of the gentlemen that was gathering support said, I don't want to spend the money. I want to hold on to it for a year or 2.
Right.
You know, that was an idea that they wanted to have. And then, you know, you had the others, the lady spoke up about, no, I would like my $150 or whatever it would be for the households. And then, you know, Mary's point is, what's the boundary? Is it going to be 2.5 miles, 3 miles, 1 mile?
I have a question.
That,
about-
I mean, so you know, that was 1.5 month. The group of people there were, I think I said 3,000 addresses at the meeting, it was actually 2,000. We sent out 2,000 pieces of mail. Of course, that included everybody, every address within that half a circle. Yeah, a lot.
Concern I have about the sidewalk piece is we heard loud and clear that when the residents wanted the impact. So we were to replace sidewalk that was already heaving. And this is going to be replaced in front of a rental property that the landlord would have been paying the replacement cost for compared to the homeowner. So there's that, but I mean, you look at the common good of having 600 squares of sidewalk replaced, and that's good, but that does run a little contrary to, oh, now my landlord just got out of X amount of improvements.
No, and that wouldn't, that would have to not be the case.
Right, we take that.
It would have to be. But the other thing that was mentioned by somebody at the meeting was filling sidewalk gaps. Now, if you're gonna go all the way down Gulf Street, $100,000 isn't enough to do that, but are there some gaps out there that could be filled in?
I think there was some misunderstanding. Though on who is responsible to pay for sidewalks, that's what I heard, you know, one lady said, don't fix my sidewalks, it's already your responsibility, when in fact it's not. So I think that there was some misunderstanding. Then I heard her say, we have to pay for the sidewalk, so somebody's like, that's your responsibility. So I think that there was some misunderstanding as a little bit of that, so I want to make sure that we clearly define those things so they know that we're spending money on something that they would typically.
That their taxes shouldn't be going to. I heard that very clearly too, is that they didn't want us to spend money on what their taxes should be paying to fix already.
I do really like your idea though, Commissioner Schwartz, about, you know, coming together and doing the breakouts. I feel some people would be more comfortable. You can really do a lot of brainstorming. I sat there and thought, if I were one of these affected residents at this meeting, I don't know what I would say with that amount. Like, I don't know what I would say either. Like, it was very overwhelming, and that info, you know, I think that's why we didn't necessarily get all the feedback, like, you know, that we thought they'd just come raring with ideas. You know, a lot of people need to process that, think about that now that a lot of it's been presented and that follow-up meeting. And I love your idea for how to conduct that. You know, maybe that is something that, but just, you know, we were just discussing it and, you know, saying we probably should have a, you know, a discussion now that it's fresh in our minds, you know, about it. But, you know, that's why we, you know, some of the things we heard, we just wanted to start getting prices to kind of say, hey, this is what it's going to cost. And this is what, how much could be done, or this is what could happen if that's the route they want to go.
I know a young woman came up and spoke to Mary and I, and she didn't want to speak publicly in her meeting. But she is a renter and she has very much been affected by it. Now, we don't want to give money to her landlord, but there's a lot of renters over there. And that's something we need to truly consider as well.
Cause they couldn't go outside and they couldn't do those things just because they're a renter. Yeah, exactly.
I feel like the meeting did exactly what I thought it would do. It's a chance for us to hear from the residents and to start getting ideas. It wasn't going to be, this is what's going to happen. This was the very beginning of what that $100,000 is going to go towards. So, and we have lots of time. We're not going to get that other 50,000 until sometime this fall. So, I think we take some of their ideas, like the sidewalks, like figuring out exactly how much money would each homeowner get if it's within that half mile. What is it? Someone said it was $33. I don't know if that's the case or not. You know, is it $150? Or, you know, we take some of the things that they gave us, you know, about splitting it evenly, splitting it weighted. I don't know what else I wrote on here. You know, are there any, you know, doing the additional sidewalks on Gulf? Now it's up to us to take some of those things and get specifics and bring them back to the residents and maybe present them. Here are some things we heard in the February meeting. This is what it would look like. What do you think of these ideas? But bringing them back in the smaller groups of 10 to 20 people or however many smaller groups are. So we could do that maybe the summer sometime once we.
I think the people started crunching numbers pretty quickly once they found out about our mailings. When we sent out 2,000 or 3,000 mailings, all of a sudden, oh, there's gonna be $28. Well, that's not real. I think once we find out who those people are that are eligible for money, that'll change much. It's a much different number. If we're in a half a mile or a quarter mile or whatever it is, because of the people that are renting, people that are the houses that aren't occupied. There's a lot of other numbers that we need to crunch because it's not going to be $30 to $40 to $50 a person. It's going to be more, not a lot more, but it's I think some people were disillusioned by the concern of spreading out that much money to those people, and all of a sudden, okay, it's $33 or $40.
Another factor that comes into play, so person lives there now that wasn't there during the Crimson time,
Right.
or vice versa.
That's right.
You know, I was, you know, sorry to hear about the man that passed away of cancer, you know, and that was kind of my thought of not holding on to the money.
Having a better sense of numbers will help us too, I think. We start to see the scope.
So if it was really 2,000 homes, which is not, with that'd be $50.
Right.
Just, I heard one thing clearly, they didn't want landlords to get the money.
Right.
Because they were contracted. That clearly they wanted to see what they could do with it. There was some speculation about. And we said, we didn't decide $100,000, that was adjudicated. It was $100,000 by the court, this is what the court gave. And it has nothing to do if people are gonna join the lawsuit or not. So once we found that to be clear and people understood that we were given, it wasn't our decision, $100,000 for us to decide what we're going to do, and that they are the stakeholders that we're here to benefit them, not the city, but them for what they.
We got an email this evening, so I'm hoping that some more people share with us, you know, they've gotten time to process that meeting a little bit and think about what they want to do and what will benefit the community most.
Eagle said they can't do sniffers. They don't know what the odor is that causes it, so they're sniff it out.
I can't stand that word.
Yeah.
This is weird.
It's weird. That's.
Have we gotten any feedback as to how effective the scrubbery is or has been so far? This trial period?
Well, no, I mean, not as such. We seem to have fewer complaints. Patients are the doesn't smell as bad, although Leslie told me today that, they had a very negative, she had a very negative experience over there today. This morning.
I spent 2 hours this afternoon between Sienna Heights and Crimson and downtown. And I never smelled it once, not one time, but I don't know which way the wind was blowing now. And I was in and out of my car the entire time.
I too was by the factory a couple, 3 times a day, and right when I'm at the door, I can smell it. And then nothing. You know, so whatever is happening is, as you was mentioned at the meeting, things are getting better. Are they the best they can be? I don't know, but they're getting better, I believe. I hope that the Scrabble will continue to do its job.
Yeah, I also don't know exactly how much they're operating. I reported a complaint that we have to, for the judgment, we have to report when we have complaints, and so I reported it to the attorney, and he contended that they were not operating. It was 10 o'clock in the morning. In spite of him sending a notice to us that they were now in the 24/7 operating period. Apparently not operating.
Just to be real, I believe he did that on the stand as well. But he was up.
Well, that was the manager, yeah.
They haven't always been truthful. And that's the.
Right.
I'll take that for what it's worth.
But the part about that I believe is that they're not yet operating 24/7. That probably is true, so we don't have a full sense yet of what it's going to be like.
Weather seems to be a huge factor as well, right? When it was warmer, it smells worse. When it rains, it smells worse. I did hear that at the meeting too, that weather.
When it's overcast.
Well, and when they were scrubbing it, that was true.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, at this point, what's coming out, the new stack attached to the scrubber, really shouldn't smell.
Proximity was another question, or at least variance of proximity. The closer you live, is there greater emphasis on the sidewalks you put in, or the more of a grant opportunity for people compared to down the street?
Maybe what we should do is take what we all heard and email Greg and say, here were like 2 or 3 things we heard that we want you to look into, get us costs, get how much the homeowner would receive, and those kinds of things. And then you could bring that back to us in a month or so.
Yeah, fine with that.
Yeah, that'll work. Good approach.
What is a half a mile from that factory? Where does it really take us?
Basically takes you over to Monument Park.
And to the north of Picture to Mulberry.
And down the beach.
Mhm.
It was more than that was affected.
Mhm.
You know.
Well, yeah,
So I think that, where do we draw the
Got to
line?
draw the line somewhere.
Never downtown.
It was bad.
Yeah.
Was the half mile, in, concert with the Eagle, map that they released? Or was
no,
that-
we just chose a half mile. Qualification. Their maps were more complicated. More on that, right? And last is our monthly strategic plan check-in. Commissioner Roberts had something she wanted to talk about in this context.
Yeah, so part of our strategic plan is essentially marketing and communication. I don't have it in front of me what the exact wording is on our strategic plan. So Michelle Dewey and I have been discussing a couple of things. One of the things is the beefing up of the weekly administrator email, making it more similar to other, either the county or other cities, updates. So you saw I did not know that I was going to have a picture in last week's
That was
update.
Michelle's doing that.
That was Michelle's doing. Get back at her. So one of the things that I suggested that come see the lead of other communities do is they do a highlight of either someone who works for the city, someone who's on a commission, someone who's on a commission. I also thought it would be nice to extend that out to a local business owner to highlight their business. So some kind of spotlight every week for something or someone. And, as you saw, it was a quick 2 to 3 paragraph, essentially who you are, what do you do, that kind of thing. So that's going to be hopefully a weekly thing that I think for right now, since Michelle is out, I will be coordinating. So if you are interested in being a part of that weekly spotlight, please let me know. You're welcome to send me the writing and I'll just work with you and getting it in. And I don't know if it'll be a first come, first serve, or we'll do a rotation of one time a commissioner, next time a business owner, next time maybe someone from the HRC, something like that.
Is that something the mayor could help with? And then when you do proclamations and things like that, that's a great time.
Yeah.
We read a proclamation, but it doesn't really share
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
completeness of the story, maybe the
Okay.
whole thing. So that would be a great idea to get share some of the bigger stories on those proclamations. I mean, we haven't been, I'm just talking about the naming, the road, like, we could have dug in a little bit and wrote some more about that. That, I just think that would be a good time to share some historical facts about the city and some things that people are doing now, and this is truly why they got the proclamation,
Right.
During the strategic planning process, there's a lot of discussion about personnel and an individual to do that. Are we moving forward with that, or is that continues not to be a discussion item? So are we abandoning that? or-
I am with you on that one. I really do think that, having someone do that is one of the key things that we talk about. And, it was very apparent at the meeting at the fairgrounds was communication, lacking communication. And so, Michelle does a lot. I don't want to step into her shoes at all. She does a lot. And this has no bearing on what she does, but someone that knows how to read, social media threads and when to post and how to get the rhythm of all that. I mean, there's a science to that, right? And how to get our information out there more clearly. I am interested in a position that does that. I mean, now it's up to you, Greg, to create that, but
Well, so the question for you, and I did add in my budget worksheet at least,
Mhm.
fair amount of money to contract services within the marketing. Budget. With the idea of, to do something contract for,
Mhm.
but I think that was discussing whether we really think about employee or are we thinking about people the capacity to produce. Distributor, county. That's a contract.
One kind of thought I had was at the recent Smart Zone meeting, they were talking about a halftime person. And, and I know there was the laundry list of everything that was underneath for this other person to do, which, you know, they would need to come with a cape. So would there be any advantage to having the smart zone and part-time and this part-time as a possibility? And then it's still that same thing of, you're gonna attract someone that's coming for a full-time position instead of just a little bit of contract work a year. I mean, that was Jeremiah's, you know, balance with rec and communications.
Another thing that will probably be stalled with Michelle's absence is she and I are continuing to work on a community calendar. She put together an application that would be on the website if you belong to an organization and want something put on our city-wide calendar that's on our website. Who gets to have stuff on there and why? So not exactly sure because I don't have any idea how to get stuff on the calendar. I don't plan to, but that might be put on. But hopefully down the road, we will have a real working calendar, City of Adrian, and events that are going on in the City of Adrian. What that looks like.
We need to make sure there's city sponsored events.
Well, that's the
If it's our
discussion.
calendar, it's a city sponsored.
Yeah,
I don't want any
Cities.
group just going out there and saying, getting access to it. And saying we're putting this on at this date and that. I think if it's something from the city, it's our stuff that we're. Back.
and that's the kind of stuff that I need to hear is what do you want, you know, as commissioners, what do you want on that calendar? Is it just city run things? Is it just first Fridays? Or do you want, like, I even thought of, people have said, well, I really would have liked to have known when the 4th of July parade is happening. It's not a city sponsored event.
My personal opinion is if it's a city sponsored calendar, it's city sponsored events.
Okay.
Mary or Greg, do you know, because currently, like the next upcoming, say, planning commission, or even our next meeting, if you go to that event, it's not listed yet. So like, because I know John had to double enter all the school district stuff, so you could go to the school district calendar in September and they would know all the events that were listed in May or June, or for that athletic season, those were all entered so that you could see it. Where now, even though we know planning commission is, you know, the Tuesday, third Tuesday, or whatever it is, that's not listed currently. So someone couldn't look that up and plan for that meeting until it goes live.
I think you could find the schedule of regular meetings.
Yeah.
So,
Which then makes it problematic when you won't go to a calendar and you say, oh, I want to see what's happening Tuesday.
If I remember having that with what Michelle told me with our discussion is that she did it only month by month. So only the month of February was put on, like at the beginning of February. So March stuff doesn't get put on until she had a plan, you know. So I don't, and we were just at the very beginning of this discussion. So
I think that's why it makes it important to get a communications person.
Yeah, I agree.
Michelle does wear a cape.
Yes.
So, and she can only do what she can do, you know, I mean, just, she's already working 1 million hours a day and there's only 24. So, I do think that's someone that can plan that out and have that listed in the right connections, and I think that's what we just put in.
So that's the update, communication.
Any other topics anybody has?
When do we meet with the gentleman? There was a month or something.
You know, it's on there, but I forgot.
When do we want?
I thought it was. in
We're
this
gonna meet
folder.
The gentleman that helped us do it.
Oh, yeah.
Was that 7 months?
Feel like it was 7
That
months.
was 7.
We're at pretty much 7 months.
So it should
But I don't know
be
if it was,
faster.
we were to meet him or there was a specific tag, it's in there. If anybody has a copy of it.
I do.
That was, I thought it was after the
think I
adoption.
do.
I don't know if it's after the adoption or because
Usually
that
carry
was
with
September
me.
compared to.
I usually carry it.
It was that. So right at the very end, I think, are the next steps. To go into that.
Six to 7 months after adopting the plan, the commissioners and department heads will review and revise the strategic plan and the one-year task as appropriate. 12 to 13 months after formal adoption, the commission staff will review and revise the plan and identify the one-year task for 24-25. But it doesn't say anything about him coming, it just
No.
says that the commissioners and department heads will review and revise the strategic plan. And the one-year task department said probably be the March one instead of like a review of the strategic plan. That would be the time to do that.
Yep.
Mhm.
The topics, otherwise Mary, you can go ahead. And.
All right. At this time, we will now open it up for public comment. We will begin inside the chambers first. Just to reiterate, there's a 3-minute time limit, and for the record, please state your name and full address. After we have exhausted all public comment inside the chambers, we will then open it up to the Zoom participants.
Dean Ramos, 422 South Winter Street. I just want to talk a little bit about the communications piece. I definitely recommend getting someone to fully dedicate to that. And we know that Michelle puts a lot of hours into a lot of different things. And unfortunately, that means that some of them don't get as much attention as they might deserve. So I think you definitely need a communications person. And one change that's happened on the site as well recently that I think is a bit of a problem is the way that the events for the meetings are posted aren't shareable like they used to be. And it used to be just a click of a button and you could share that. It might look a little bit weird at first, but you could share it. Now I have to go and copy and paste it, which isn't that big of a deal, but it does add a little bit of hindrance. And then jump to the calendar. I think that really comes to what do we want to encourage in this city? I think that we should encourage the cultural aspects such as parades and certain festivals. And I think that that has a place on the calendar, especially since many of those groups are made up of residents who are taxpayers, thus some of their money is going towards the calendar being made and maintained. But again, I think it's a question of what do we want in the city? And I think that a lot of us do want culture and diversity in our city, which leans towards actually including many of these groups and events on the calendar. I definitely recommend free ones opposed to ones that have to pay, but that's my thoughts on that.
What?
Kirk Valentine, 969 West Maumee Street. First tonight, you're gonna set the special assessment district for Tecumseh Street as well as others. My building, former Wheelock building, corner of Tecumseh and Church, just went through street improvement, curb and gutter improvement on the Tecumseh Street side. When that project started, I had Matt come out to see what the scope of work was gonna be. And I actually added some additional sidewalk to it because I wanted it to look nice. When the work was done, I didn't have nice, kind of a mess, quite frankly, pretty disappointing. I called Matt right away. He sent Brett. Brett came out. I talked through my feelings with Brett. Brett said he'd get back to me in a week or two, and I never heard anything. So finally, I started badgering Matt and I put Greg in the loop here in the last couple of weeks, and Matt and Brett did come out and we talked through it, and there was an awful lot of excuses. And if there's one person that you really don't want to BS about concrete work, it's me. I was on the end of a trowel when I was 12 years old, so I kind of understand concrete work and how it's supposed to go. And I got crap work. Now, Matt agreed that they'd make some improvements to it, but again, my goal in the beginning was for it to look nice. Well, when you cut it up and patch it and all that, it's not gonna look nice, it's still gonna look like crap. And that's what I was trying to fix, was trying to keep my building around there looking nice. I've invested a fair amount of money into that building. So I'm disappointed with the response that I got from Matt. And, you know, I asked him for a breakdown of what I was paying for, and of course, he told me the formula was pretty complicated and I probably wouldn't understand it. So kind of let that one soak in first. All right, and of course, he pulls up in his brand new white pickup. He was disappointed because it wasn't red. He got a white one, you know, so he gets his free pickup. And I'm gonna get stuck with $6,000 assessment for work that I'm not happy with on the Tecumseh Street side. And guess what? Y'all are doing Church Street this year. So I'm gonna get $6,000 again on the Church Street side. Now, he said, I got a great bargain because since I'm on the corner, I only gotta pay 70%. Well, it doesn't feel like a bargain when you're running a wood shop, pretty small margins, and you're gonna dole out $12,000 for no added value to my building. So I understand special assessments. I've sat right where you were and gone through this, but if you look at my neighbors, and I've talked to some of them, they're gonna be looking at $2,000 to $3,000. You know, special assessments on curb and gutter used to be a few $100. But with the costs the way they are now, they're gonna get smoked, and they're not happy. And I feel bad for them.
Hearing no more public comment, I will now open it up to the Zoom participants. You will also have a 3-minute time limit, and for the record, please state your name and full address. Hearing no public comment, may I get a motion to adjourn?
So.
All in favor, say aye. Meeting is adjourned, and we will begin the meeting out there at 7:05. I call to order the Adrian City Commission meeting for February 19th, 2024. If everyone would please rise for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please. Mayor Heath, present. Commissioner Banky,
Present.
Commissioner Schwartz,
Present.
Commissioner Roberts,
Present.
Commissioner Miller,
Present.
Commissioner Castleberry,
Present.
Commissioner Gauss,
Present.
all commission members present. May I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Gauss with a second from Commissioner Miller. Roll call, please. Mayor Heath? Yes. Commissioner Banky?
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz?
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Castleberry?
Yes.
Commissioner Gauss?
Yes.
Approved by unanimous vote. May I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Roberts with a second from Commissioner Castleberry. Roll call, please. Commissioner Banky?
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz?
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Castleberry?
Yes.
Commissioner Gauss?
Yes.
Mayor Heath? Yes. Approved by unanimous vote. Moving on to special orders. Number one, special order -1 is a public hearing to hear and consider comments to the special assessment roll for Helm, Rogers, Lenawee, and Rogers Court, SAD number 397. I now call this public hearing open, and we will listen and consider all comments regarding Helm, Rogers, Lenawee, and Rogers Court at this time.
Hello, my name's Caleb Dotson. I'm at 592 Lenawee Street. I've just kind of voiced some discomfort with some of the people, Doug Miller in the previous meeting. I'm a little discomfort with the price, with the shoddy work that has been done, just basically going on low bid and seeing basically our road cut in half and everybody's front easement and apron or drive extended out to make the road more narrow, not doing anything besides saving costs. So I was also told through the grapevine that it saved Adrian $100,000 rather than making it the same path that it once was. So now if anyone parks on that road, it turns into a one-way street. There's no getting in and out. Me and my neighbors on the curve have been the most affected because everybody's drive got narrowed, I want to say 3 to 5 feet. But going along that curb, it goes up to 7 to 15 feet. I know my neighbors 2 doors down, they have green approximately 100 square feet in their front yard. That's going to be nothing but swamp because of just shoddy excavation work. That's just going to be tossed in fertilizer for seed, and come spring, it's gonna all wash out. It might look nice now on the drive-by, but it's not gonna last. Just because they threw it in there with an excavator or a backhoe and a skidster, rolled it out, said goodbye. They had no want or will to make it actually presentable for years to come. Same thing with the concrete work that was put in. As a union laborer and operator, I deal with it on the daily, concrete. I come in wearing it, but it's frustrating seeing that work that I'm now gonna have to pay $12,000 or $1,200 for. Just for something that's gonna last me another 5 to 7 years. And I am a new homeowner. I've been at my house here on Lenawee Street for 4 years. I'm hoping to have a long prosperous life there, but knowing that I'm gonna have to have my city go on lowest bid to find a company out of Ypsilanti that decided to come in, sweep the streets real quick and lay down asphalt and curb overnight. I wish. That was months on end. And yeah, it was nothing to bear. I mean, it's a plus having new fire hydrants on the street. I could have been done in there, and that's it. But now I have a $1,200 bill for concrete that doesn't look any more curb appealing than what previous concrete did. I would actually been happier with what was left. A larger drive, a larger street. But now I'm stuck with this because I doubt they'll ever expand the street back to where it once was. So yeah.
I now call this hearing. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So I've biked through there. I live in the neighborhood as well, and I totally agree with him. And
Can you state your name? and
oh,
address?
Jarek Tim, Lake Street. I totally agree with him with the swamp in terms of where the curve is. And the fact that the city didn't use that as an opportunity to extend curb cuts to bring bicycles into the trail straight from the street. Because right now what you have to do is go up somebody's driveway and ride on the sidewalk, which is only 4 feet wide. So if there's kids playing, people walking, there's not room. But also the swampy area is an opportunity as well to put in bioswales You can plant native flowers, dredge it out, make it hold water for 48 hours, and it drains down, reducing the amount of, water that just gets dumped into our wastewater management system. If that would have been part of the plan from the beginning, moving the wastewater management to the new curb wouldn't have had to happen and would have saved more money.
I now call the public hearing closed. Moving on to special order -2, a public hearing to hear and consider comments to the special assessment roll for Tecumseh Street between Michigan Street and Toledo, SAD number 398. We now call this public hearing open, and we will hear comments regarding the special assessment roll for Tecumseh Street between Michigan Street and Toledo. I now call this public hearing closed. Moving on to special order -3, a public hearing to hear and consider comments to the special assessment roll for Church Street between Locust and Maumee, SAD number 399. I now call this public hearing open, and we will consider all comments for Church Street between Locust and Maumee at this time.
Hello, my name is Tim Kirkendall. I'm the general manager at Agate Manufacturing Company located at 1408 East Church Street in Adrian. I wanted to bring up two concerns that I have about the planned construction rebuild of Church Street. The first concern is the potential that they're not going to repair or remove the railroad tracks that cross Church Street on the 1400 block. If I may, I have pictures of the existing condition of the railroad tracks I would like everyone to see. May I? About the same. Been that way a long time. I understand that Norfolk Southern has jurisdiction over the railroad tracks. With that being said, I think it would be very disappointing if we were going to spend $2 million to reconstruct this street and leave a massively glaring issue right in the middle of it. I know that the spur of tracks that cross both Church and then Maumee are considered out of service by Norfolk Southern. And so they're of no use to anyone right now. If they were in service, they would only benefit Anderson Development Company. So I guess in my mind, if they would like to keep the potential of getting rail access, they should participate in getting those rebuilt to a satisfactory manner. If not, then I think they should be completely removed so that we can reconstruct the road right through it. That same thing would go for Maumee, which has already had been constructed, but the same thing happened there. They stopped about 5 feet on either side of the tracks and left the existing pavement, and the tracks are in better shape, but still not fantastic. So, everyone using that road suffers right now. No one benefits from those tracks. And the only potential benefit would be Anderson Development Company. So that's the first one. The second one is I think that there should be special consideration given to that last block, the 1400th between Gulf and Maumee. It is all industrial. Agate, we bring in semis, 3, 4, 5, 6 semis a day. Crimson Holdings, their weigh scales are accessed both coming and going from that stretch of Church Street. Those are full tankers of liquid. So that's about as heavy as you can really get a truck. And then Anderson Development also has gates where they take tankers and load and
Your
unload
time
those.
is up. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank
All
you.
right. Yep.
I now call this public hearing closed. Moving on to our resolutions. Resolution R 24-003 is from engineering. It is a resolution to confirm the special assessment role for SAD number 397. May I get a motion to adopt the resolution?
Move to adopt the resolution.
Support.
Are there any public comments in regards to this resolution? Are there any commissioner comments in regards to this resolution?
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts?
As someone who uses that area quite frequently, actually, I was walking those streets this morning. I want you to know that I heard those comments and have had similar concerns about the curb in the water there. I did hear you. I did hear you until to check into that. But I want you to know that I did hear you, and I will be speaking about this with the city administrator to see what we can do at this point.
I have a motion from Commissioner Roberts with a second from Commissioner Castleberry. Roll call, please. Commissioner Schwartz?
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Castleberry?
Yes.
Commissioner Gauss?
Yes.
Mayor Heath? Yes. Commissioner Banky?
Yes.
Resolution approved by unanimous vote. Resolution R 24-004 is from engineering. It is a resolution to confirm the special assessment role for SAD number 398. May I get a motion to adopt the resolution?
Move to adopt the resolution.
Support.
Are there any public comments in regards to this resolution? Are there any commissioner comments? I have a motion from Commissioner Roberts with a second from Commissioner Miller. Roll call, please. Commissioner Roberts?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Castleberry?
Yes.
Commissioner Gauss?
Yes.
Mayor Heath? Yes. Commissioner Banky?
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz?
Yes.
Resolution approved by unanimous vote. Resolution R 24-005 is from engineering. It is a resolution to establish SAD number 399. May I get a motion to adopt the resolution?
I'd like to move that we table this for now until we get more information. I believe that we received an email, one or two emails from residents who couldn't be here tonight, that I saw the emails. I have not had a chance to read them during the meeting. And I would like to table this until the next meeting, please.
I support that motion.
I have a motion to table this resolution from Commissioner Roberts with a second from Commissioner Castleberry. Roll call, please. Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Castleberry?
Yes.
Commissioner Gauss?
Yes.
Mayor Heath? Yes. Commissioner Banky?
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz?
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts?
Yes.
Approved by unanimous vote. Resolution R 24-006 is from Community Development. It is a resolution to approve a proposal for assistance with the demolition of 116 through 120 South Main Street from Krieghoff Lenawee. May I get a motion to adopt the resolution?
Move to adopt the resolution.
Support.
Are there any public comments in regards to this resolution?
Joaquin Ramos, 422 South Winter Street. I understand that it needs to come down. I definitely recommend getting information on it, though I do urge you to put some thought into taking care of some of these historic buildings in the future. I understand that many of them are owned by private individuals, but part of the character of our downtown is these historic buildings, and it's unfortunate when we see some come down. So I hope there's some thought being put in how we can preserve the ones that remain and what to do with some of the space that will be left.
Hearing no more public comment, are there any commissioner comments? I have a motion from Commissioner Roberts with a second from Commissioner Castleberry. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Castleberry,
Yes.
Commissioner Gauss,
Yes.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Banky,
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz.
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts. Yes. Commissioner Miller.
Yes.
Resolution approved by unanimous vote.
Resolution R 24-007 is from administration. It is a resolution modifying the city's standard form of contract. May I get a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved. Support.
Are there any public comments in regards to this resolution? Are there any commissioner comments? I have a motion from Commissioner Gauss with a second from Commissioner Miller. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gauss,
Yes.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Banky,
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz.
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts. Yes. Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Castleberry.
Yes.
Resolution approved by unanimous vote.
Commissioners, there are miscellaneous reports in your packet. Are there any questions or comments on those? We will move on to public comment. This is general public comment. Just to reiterate, you must state your name and full address. You will have a 3-minute time limit that will be shown on the screen. We will start inside the city chambers first, and after we have exhausted all public comment within the chambers, we will then open it up to Zoom participants, of whom the same qualifications for giving public comment apply.
Jarek Tim, Lake Street. In 2017, I was hit by a car while crossing Church Street walking to work. Afterwards, I researched safety improvements and proposed them to the city commission, who assured me they'd be part of the Complete Streets initiative the city had committed to during the repaving processes moving forward. Unfortunately, none were implemented. In fact, no street repavements have resulted in anything that could be considered complete streets since then. In 2019, a student was hit on Springbrook Avenue, and despite the installation of flashing speed limit signs, no physical traffic calming measures were taken, and another student was hit in recent years. My hopes for a safer street redesign during last summer's repaving was shattered when the street reopened as a 40-foot wide road with freeway width lanes, promoting speed over safety once again. I met with some city commissioners about this and was told it would be difficult to make improvements now that it was done. It was suggested that the planning phase would be the best time to raise concerns. So during the planning phase of the downtown bike loop, I raised concerns about the safety of the two-way bikeways that have been shown to be less safe for all road users on busy downtown streets with abundant curb cuts and cross streets. When I suggested safer alternative designs, I was dismissed and told it would be too expensive. Looking into the estimated costs, I found my design may actually be more cost-effective and shared this with the entire commission, but only one commissioner has responded to my email as of tonight. I find the cost excuse to be disingenuous considering the city recently approved $250,000 for a parking addition to downtown without batting an eye. When will you prioritize the safety and well-being of your constituents, especially this city's children? Thank you.
Hearing no more public comment inside the chambers, we will now open it up to the Zoom participants. All right, somebody didn't realize it. We will reopen inside the city chambers. Go ahead.
I'm not fully prepared and I might be out of order here. Just had a,
Can you state your name and address?
yeah. Nancy Dermeyer, and address is 142 North Locust Street. I just wanted to comment, and it might be inappropriate here. I have some trouble obtaining conversations with folks at City Hall sometimes, so I'm going to speak about it here. When I heard about the biking issue, I spend time at the dog park a lot, and I just wanted to I struggle sometimes with the behavior of some of the folks down there a little bit. And I noticed recently you've had some, I don't know if it's theft, but vandalism and so forth. And I wondered, first of all, how funding is taken care of for that? I'm quite ignorant about that right now. And how can the public help with that? Volunteering, et cetera. I have several children that I see down there unaccompanied by adults, and I see them vandalizing the fences, obtaining entrance into things that are locked, et cetera. I also know that their parents aren't even in town. But the dog park for itself, it seems like, and this is not to be ugly about individuals who work for the city, because I know that they work very hard. But it seems as though things are put into place maybe for regulations, but not talking to people about what the needs are. And I personally I did not fall. I fell in a divot 6 inches deep, nothing. And I severed my tendons, and I was in a cast for 8 months of a year. And then through that, I had a concussion, and I'm suffering from post-concussive syndrome. So I'm all over the map, and it's ugly. But the thing is, you have to go down a ridiculous ramp to get there. And then, or go from Island Park on foot through grass, no sidewalk. And it was a struggle. Every time I went there, I get mad. And I say, is there no opportunity for a handicapped person to walk their dog? Of all people, it should be handicapped accessible. It's a lovely park, a lovely opportunity for Adrian folks, but it is absolutely not handicapped accessible. And I feel like it should be an opportunity for people to have a voice. How can you possibly put yourself in someone else's shoes? You cannot. Yes, there are regulations, ADA, et cetera, but it is so important to have a voice. And I wouldn't have known had I not been put into that situation. But I'm sure Mr. Spade has been into that situation himself. He has an escort. God bless him, but everyone, we can't put ourselves in that spot. And we have that opportunity, but how do you have a winding, that's for a skate park person. It is not for a person in a wheelchair. My husband cannot, he's in a walker or whatever, he cannot go to the dog park with me. I just want to say that we could have some communication, much better opportunities with volunteers helping. The city cannot do it all, and I would love to see that. And I don't know what is out there, what you have in place already, but it is not known to me. And when I call people at the city, there is not a phone answered. I have yet to find someone respond to a phone call and or answer a phone. And there's machines everywhere, and it's disappointing. Thank you very much.
My name is Stacy Downing. I'm not a resident of Adrian, but I do ride bikes throughout Adrian all the time. And I just wanted to encourage you folks. I don't know who designed the original plan, but I see so many times when I'm riding throughout cities that it's obviously being planned by people who do not ride bicycles. I don't know if any of you ride regularly, but a group of us here are riding throughout Lenawee County on a regular basis and are finding so many different things that are not safe for those people. There are different groups here in Lenawee County that are available and more than willing to share our points that might help these other people in the planning stages. We've got the Adrian Maple Wheelers. It's a group of us that are riding regularly. Connecting Lenawee is a committee or group in Adrian and Lenawee County to promote bicycle riding in the area. And then, of course, Rebike Lenawee. So I would encourage all of you, before you decide on any kind of plans for streets and trying to make things safe and where people can use it, that you really do talk to the people who are using it and riding it, because otherwise it looks pretty, but it may not be most effective for those people. Thank you.
There's a hand up on Zoom. You may go. Patty? All right, well, we're not hearing any public comment, so at this time we will move on. Are there any commissioner comments? Commissioner Banky?
Several comments. First and foremost, I want to thank Mr. Tim for his extensive, and I do mean extensive, insight into the world of biking. The conversations I've had related to the Winter Street project is, well, no one bikes downtown anyways. So part of the concern here is as we build bike lanes and this program that will begin to get more and more bikers involved and more biking as part of that loop. So I think it's definitely important that we turn to our local experts and our users of those who are going to be using the bike lanes as to does this make sense for them to use that, or are they going to just bypass because they don't feel that there's a level of safety there? If there's an opportunity for Smith Group to meet with these groups, that would be nice. Another topic I'd like to bring up, recently I've attended several presentations of the countywide housing strategic plan as they've talked about data throughout Lenawee County. And while we're still waiting for our zoning and planning updates, the great takeaway from that is the high demand when it comes to rentals, when it comes to rehab, and when it comes to new construction. So that the 53 new homes that we're looking at as part of the Bixby project is just a drop in the bucket of the need over the next 5 years. I did want to make mention that tonight we did approve a bid, and while it was on the consent agenda and it was an equal amount between a company in Branch County and Lenawee County, we went with the Branch County bidder, and I know that's not part of the local bid process, but the fact is that in Lenawee County, we have Lenawee County workers and we have Adrian workers that are probably working for that business. So I would like to consider Lenawee County options in the future. That's all I can speak for now.
Commissioner Roberts?
Just like to remind everyone that early voting is open at the Human Services Building from 9 to 5 for all residents from the city of Adrian. So if you choose to vote in person, but either don't want to or can't make it on February 27th, you are welcome to go to the Human Services Building, even on Saturday and Sunday, I believe, too. So just get out the vote.
I'd just like to say that we remember that it's President's Day today, and we've all had time to take and realize the effects that our preceding presidents have had on our lives.
All right, well, I do appreciate, by the way, the comments on biking. I am an avid biker myself, and these have all been great things to listen to and to take into consideration. I will say my personal experiences, I've almost been killed a few times on Winter Street. So Winter Street's been a problem for me because I bike on that sometimes. But I do understand your concerns and you are being heard. It's just a matter of looking at everything and seeing what can be done. But, you know, we are really trying to make this definitely more biker friendly. There's a lot of people, it's about quality of life. And that is what is a high priority of this entire commission, is to have a better quality of life here in Adrian. And one of those is, you know, getting out, enjoying the outdoors and enjoying our parks if it's the dog park or whatever park it is, and enjoying our trails and just getting out and enjoying all of the outdoors. So all of those concerns are being heard. I just want to assure you and listen to. Sometimes things can't be the way we all would like it, but, you know, hopefully maybe there can be some slight changes and we can start to move in the right direction when it comes to what some of those needs and wants are. May I get a motion to adjourn? Oh, I forgot. My brain went on to, I'm used to commissioner comments and it being the next comment. Sorry. At this time, we are going to have a discussion with our city attorney regarding pending litigation.
I make a motion that we go into closed session.
Support.
We have a motion from Commissioner Roberts and a second from Commissioner Gauss to go into closed session. Roll call, please.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Banky,
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts. Yes. Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Castleberry. Yes. Commissioner Gauss,
Yes.
approved by unanimous vote.
So at this time, we will go into closed session. We will then vote to come out of closed session and we will come out here. There most likely will not be anything to share from closed session, but we will adjourn the meeting. But if there is anything, we will at that time, but we will be going to the back for our closed session. So if you do leave, thank you for coming, and our next meeting will be in 2 weeks. Thank you. A motion to, all right, there you go. May I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.